Welcome back, everyone. Today I have a Silver's Rayleigh deck profile for you guys. This is the first deck profile on the channel for the OP12 format. I have a lot of great ideas for deck profiles, editing old leaders, playing the new ones. So if there's anything you want to see, please comment down below. And then to support the channel, please like, comment, and subscribe. So with that, let's get right into it. Rayleigh is one of the best leaders of the OP12 format. Like in Japan, top two were hands down Zoro and Rayleigh. Rayleigh actually just won something this past weekend. And I'm actually really excited to play it. And then I actually pulled this out of my first box. So this is really cool. And with that, let's get right into it. Under the rules of this game, you cannot include cards with a cost of 5 or more in your deck. Very restrictive, but that's fine because all the hockey cards and a lot of your stuff in the engine is, naturally 5 and lower, because we do play pieces outside of just the stuff that came out of this set, but they're also 5 and lower or 4 and lower, so you can play it in the deck. And then activate main. Once per turn, reveal 2 event cards from your hand. Play one of your, up to one of your characters with 4,000 power or less gains 2,000 power during this turn. It does say base, so if you have like a Sanji, like the 3-cost Sanji, it's on your turn a 6k, but because its base is a 3, you can still pump it up, which is really cool. And the idea of this deck is to hit 7, just like, or 2k above, technically, I guess, if you do end up playing against like Blue Purple Luffy, which I think, we'll see less of because they have that choice restriction coming in. But if you see, like, let's say Whitebeard, because I think Whitebeard will make a comeback now that blue is, fading out a little bit, and there's going to be fewer blues playing Pudding. I mean, there's going to be Kuzan, but some of them will play like maybe 1 or 2, and you just deal with it as it comes up. And, that's something that I'll be workshopping, the Whitebeard deck profile, so keep an eye out. But you just want to go first, hit 7s, and then this way you hit a bunch of 7s and force them to take the early damage, and then basically every attack rips 2 cards later. All right, so we know what all these searchers do, so I'm just going to give you the count of how many targets there are. Nami is by far our most inconsistent searcher, but she searches all our Straw Hat pieces that we do need, like our Luffy and like our Sanji. A lot of the cards in the deck can also search Luffy specifically and then an event, but Nami can search our Sanji pieces. So with Nami searching Straw Hat, we have 13 targets in the deck. So not counting herself, because even though she's Straw Hat, you can't add another Nami. So 13 targets. Shaki is one of the new searchers, so I will explain this one. It says, look at top 5, reveal 1 Monkey D. Luffy or 1 event card. That makes for 22 targets in the deck. Then we have 4 Buggy. This Buggy is incredibly necessary because 1, Zoro is one of the top decks, and you don't want them to KO your stuff early before you get an attack off. Like on your second turn, you usually want to get a 5, 6, or possibly even 7 swing, depending on what you have in hand, because you can still play a character. You can still play character or characters and still get like a 6 swing off of this. So this is incredibly amazing. Against Zoro, it's even better because all the Zoro stuff, except with like the exception of Perona, is Slash. So Buggy cannot be KO'd in battle by Slash. And then Buggy adds an event card, and Buggy has 18 targets. Next, we have by far one of the best searcher, hands down, Boa Hancock on play. Look at 5 from the top of your deck reel. So it's literally Shaki. And she literally also has 22 targets, adding Luffy or an event card. But the best part of her effect is activate main. You may trash this character, give up to 2 rested on to your leader or one of your characters. My favorite play is when I go first and I go to 3 Dawn. I play her, and then on the next turn, I'll have 5 Dawn. If you use 4 for Luffy, you still have 1 left over. Luffy plays something, and then use that. Luffy attaches itself to Boa. Use the Dawn to attach it to Boa. Use that extra Dawn left over, attach it to Boa. Use Rayleigh's effect to swing 7, and then just trash the Boa. Give the 2 rested Dawn to Rayleigh, and then swing for 7 again. So that makes it for 2 7k swings while also setting up your board. It is like my favorite play because it gets your opponent down damage super quick, because they can't actually come, not that they can't come back, but they can't actually react to that. Most decks can't react to that because it's too early. There's no resources that they have yet. So it is like my favorite play. It gets them down so quickly. And then we play this Sanji. We gotta play the Sanji. There are starving decks. There are all the yellow that we're gonna be seeing, especially with the arrival of Kuma. There are a lot more starving strategy now, and Sanji being able to rip your own life added to hand is just amazing. Sometimes, I'm not saying always, but sometimes you do actually just want to play it and just rip the life just to go ahead and get more resources. If you are like running low on characters, or if you don't have any searchers for whatever reason, even though we play literally like 20 different searchers. But if you don't see it and you need more cards, just play it, rip the life, and then when it does attack, you know, without any other boost, it is a 7 when you use its effect. So that's another just naturally good 7. So it's amazing. And then this way, I don't have to choose between attaching Dawn and using something like Divine Departure or Mole Pistol if I want to get rid of something. All right, next we do have two Rush Zoros. This is actually just good for early plays, where, hey, I see the style that they're playing and I actually just need more bodies on board, especially like, let's say you're going against a Zoro or something where they rest, or like another Rayleigh, right? Where they swing, their stuff is in rest, and you really just need that quick attack. Zoro is perfect for that early game. Just get extra bodies on board. Even against yellow, where, you know, they try to starve you and you're just needing like 1 extra damage to push fast enough so that when they have to get rid of it, they have to spend Dawn cards to get rid of it, and then they can't also do that and recover. So that is, you know, why we do still have 2 Zoro instead of maxing out on Kid Killers. Next, we have one of the more important combo pieces, Sanji. This card gains 3,000 power, and then on KO, draw 1. So this way, your opponent is reluctant to KO it. But honestly, what I've noticed is people are not reluctant to KO it because, you know, it's either kill this and just give you that card back, and then hopefully stall you for delaying you an attack a turn, or they just hit another 7 in the face because this is naturally a 6. You just attach 1 Dawn. All our stuff is super low cost, remember, because of the restriction on our leader. So when it gets to the late game, we just attach a bunch of Dawn. So attaching early 1 Dawn is amazing. This deck finishes like as soon as you hit like 10. Like you don't even really sometimes don't even need to hit 10. Now, another one of our combo pieces that we use to play Sanji off of is this new Luffy. If you have a total of 2 or more given Dawn, this character gets 2,000. That's permanent, guys. So remember, it is very important to sometimes to attach Dawn to your leader, right? Guys, make sure that is very clear, because if you try to like split, you know, like say you like bait and attack a blocker out, something with a 5k because you don't plan on using the Dawn. Remember, if you attach to other characters and not himself, or like you don't have 2 attached to himself, they can KO your other Dawn or other characters that have Dawn attached, like the weaker ones. Like, for example, if you have Dawn attached to the Sanji and that's all you had it attached to, they'll go after the Sanji first. Your Dawn goes back. Now you don't have attached Dawn, and then this loses that 2k pump. But that 2k pump is, you know, 6k makes it a 6k on both your turn and your opponent's. So that's very important. I did make that mistake when I first started playing. So, and then the second part is you may reveal 2 event cards, play up to 1 red character with 3,000 power or less from hand, then give 1 rested Dawn to your leader or character, which is really nice for the extra pump. So it is important to note, do not make that mistake. All right, 2 Kid Killers. Like I said, it's always good to have anything that's plus 1,000 more, because if you did play Zoro, it would be you would have more searchable targets for Nami, but for nothing else, because we do play Observation Haki, and Observation Haki can search this. So this is Rush. When attacking, if your opponent has 2 life or less, this character gains 2,000 power during this turn. So if your opponent doesn't deal with it when, you know, you throw this out, it's going to hit them for harder. So they're likely to want to deal with it. And the reason, you know, it's just slightly better than Zoro, especially late game, is because for Zoro, you'd have to pay 3 and then attach 2 to get to what Kid and Killer can do for 4. So it's 1 Dawn saving, so you can make another attack bigger. And that's just in general. So if your opponent doesn't deal with it, it's also a bigger threat on board once it hits the board. So your opponent's more likely to deal with it because if they don't think they can finish you that turn, so it could end up tanking an attack for you. Honestly, I wish I had room to at least play like one more, but it is semi-searchable. Not really. It's searchable with one card. All right, now, the real reason I really wanted to play Rayleigh is because of all the hockeys. I really wanted to play all the hockeys. Hockey is such a cool concept in this series. It's so important, and I just love seeing it. All the hockey's cards look really similar, so if your opponent doesn't actually pay attention, they might actually make a mistake. Like if they're like, oh, I thought it was this one, because it's all from the same chapter where Rayleigh is showing the hockey with the elephant, so they all look very similar. All right. So this is one I actually overestimated. The hockeys are really weird because there's you're like, oh, I don't know how many to play of each. Do I just max them all? Well, no, you don't have enough room. So I did a little testing. I did a lot of testing. And this one I actually overestimated, okay? Color of the Supreme King hockey. I know, right? Anyway, 2,000 counter to a character or Silver's Rayleigh. And then if you rest a Dawn, all your opponent's cards, all their leader and characters get 1,000 minus during the turn. So it's essentially a 3k counter, and then for that first attack, and then basically everything else is -1, which makes it for a lot easier guarding. But the reason I say play it at 3 is this deck is incredibly consistent because, look, we're playing 20 searchers that have access to about almost more than a third of the deck. So we'll see it, and you don't actually want to end up with too many of these in your hand, right? I had that problem. I ended up, there was a game where I ended up with 3 to 4, or there's been games where I ended up with 3 to 4 of the Conqueror's Hockey, and this is not a card I want to use early. So it's usually for when I expect my opponent to go for a game. Well, that only happens so many times, and in my head when I was building this, I was like, oh, I'm gonna chain multiple so that they can't kill me. Yeah, it does work, but it ends up being a brick in your hand so much earlier because you really only use it for that counter when your opponent's going in for a game. So having 2 in hand, you could feel very safe. So I don't want to max it out at 4 just to hopefully see more pieces. So I really did overestimate this one. Now, on the other hand, I really underestimated the Color of Arms hockey because you give 1 active Dawn to one of your Rayleigh, which is your leader, and then up to one of your leader or character gain 1,000 power, and then most of the hockey cards are just generic 2Ks because they don't cost anything to use. Now, the reason I say I underestimated, I was just like, oh, 1,000 power, that's nothing. That's a whole card for 1,000 power. But when I play this deck, I realized a lot of my attacks are just 1,000 shy of just getting 3 7K swings. Oh, I just have I'm just 1 Dawn shy from getting 3 7K swings. So you know what? Play one of these, get that 7K swing, and it hits them a lot harder and goes down to less life. So the best defense is a good offense is basically the idea of the deck. So I did underestimate this one. I was actually playing it only at 3. Fully maxed out at 4 now. I'm sold. I'm sold on it. Now, our last searcher is Color Observation Hockey. 4 of this. This is not a counter. This is the only one that is not a counter. So it is a searcher, though. So you give 1 active Dawn to one of your Rayleighs, look at top 4, reveal 1 red event or 1 character with a 3 or more. So it's not like Shaki or Boa where it only adds Luffy in an event. This is 3 or more, which makes this our best searcher. It's just not a body. So it's a searcher. It's got 30 targets. More than half the deck is targetable because it can actually target itself, which is crazy. So you could just chain it. You don't really get any benefit other than the consistency. That's literally it. You activate this, 1 Dawn attached to the leader, and then look at top 4, add an event. So it can add itself because there is no restriction there. 3, To Never Doubt. That is power. This is not a hockey card, of course, but it is a 2K counter. And then you give 2 active Dawn to your Rayleigh, and then your opponent cannot activate blocker for that attack. Well, there are no other Rayleigh, so it's basically makes your leader unblockable. There's no extra power, nothing, because it's give 2 active Dawn, right? So you're just getting the power off the Dawn. So there's there's no additional power up or benefit. It's just for the unblockable to go for game. Now, next we have Divine Departure. We do play one of. I see a lot of people playing one of. Couldn't figure it out why, because I was like, it's not really that great of a counter. Oh, it's because everyone's playing like a Mihawk-like card. So there's Kid, Blocker Kid, or sorry, not Blocker Kid, Wall Kid, stuff like that are 8,000 power, especially all the Mihawks that you're going to be seeing right now. And you really just need that one turn, just get that one extra turn of like a bunch of swings to get their cards low enough, so, like their hand size low enough to just hit them. This just, ruins their turn, and then you just hit 5, 5, 6, whatever, just to get their cards down so that next turn they cannot play a Wall Kid or something because they don't have the cards in hand to protect it. So that's why you got to run one. Next, we have our finisher, King Kong Gatling. It's up to one of your leader character gains 3,000 power during this turn. Then if your opponent has a character with 7,000 power or more, one of your leader characters gain plus 1,000. It's basically for a pump against like all the bigger body decks, and you want to use this and to never doubt that is power to make your leader extra strong to go for game. So this is really nice for that pump. And then finally, we have 2 Gum Gum Mole Pistol. Really good, especially in the mirror match. You don't always want to KO in this deck specifically, you don't always want to KO the same thing that you're reducing. So give one of your opponent's character minus 5,000 power. Then if you have a character with 6,000 power or more, which you will because a lot of the stuff you have just pumps up more than 6, KO one of your opponent's character 2,000 or less. Now the reason I say you sometimes might want to split the effects is like if your opponent has like a big blocker, like say like the Mihawk, right? Because you're going to be seeing a lot of Mihawks. Well, reduce the Mihawk and then pop their like Rosinante or pop their Searchers or something. Split the effects. It used to be like when you play this, you usually just target one thing that's 7k or lower and then just get rid of it. No. Like you in this deck where you have little bodies, actually split the effects. It's actually very important to split the effects. All right, guys, I will do some deck battles with this, so look out for that. I know this video is running a little bit long. I appreciate you sticking with me. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know what you want to see on the channel, what you want me to build, stuff you want me to test out, anything. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.